Dodgers Nation, look at yourself in the mirror and ask this. Does it feel unfair yet? Because if you listen closely to the whispers coming from New York, Toronto, and San Diego, that is exactly what they're saying. We are currently witnessing something unprecedented in the modern salary cap era. Just when the rest of the Major League thought the Los Angeles Dodgers, the back-to-back World Series kings, were finally going to take a breath, sit back, and admire their trophy case, the front office pulled the pin on a grenade and tossed it into the free agent market. Signing Kyle Tucker wasn't just a transaction, it was a hostile takeover of the league's morale. But before we pop the champagne for Tucker, we have to address the elephant in the room, the deafening silence that preceded this storm. For weeks, the narrative was that Los Angeles was content. The media pundits were busy speculating about the Mets' billions or the Blue Jays' revenge tour after we crushed them in the Fall Classic. And what did Andrew Friedman and the brass do? They waited in the shadows like a viper, striking with lethal precision to snatch the biggest bat on the market. Let's contextualize this for a second because history is repeating itself in the most glorious way possible. Think back to the New York Yankees of the late 1990s or the Golden State Warriors adding Kevin Durant. This is that level of psychological warfare. We aren't just beating teams on the field, we are breaking their spirits in December and January. The acquisition of Tucker does more than just solidify an outfield. It sends a message to every general manager in baseball that the Dodgers' window isn't closing, it's being renovated to be bigger, wider, and more indestructible. However, this creates a fascinating, almost dangerous dichotomy among the fan base. Half of you are ecstatic, already ordering your custom Tucker jerseys and booking flights for the parade. But there is a seasoned, perhaps cynical segment of the fan base that is looking at the roster construction and asking the hard questions. Is this it? Have we blown the budget? Are we top-heavy? It is easy to look at the star power and get blinded by the glare of the trophies. But true dynasties aren't built on the marquee names alone. They are sustained by the depth that no one talks about until October. The assumption that the offseason is over just because we landed the big fish is the kind of complacency that kills champions. Remember the 2000s era Galacticos strategy in soccer? All stars, no balance? That is the trap we must avoid. The front office knows this. They know that while the Tucker signing dominates the headlines, the real work, the dirty work, is just beginning. We have a roster that looks perfect on MLB The Show, but baseball is played in the grind of August heat and the pressure cooker of October nights. The question isn't whether we are good enough to win. The question is, are we deep enough to survive the inevitable attrition of a 162-game war? The silence you hear now isn't the end of the show, it's the intermission before the second act, and believe me, the plot twists are far from over. Now let's strip away the hype and look at the cold, hard mechanics of what comes next, because this is where the genius of the Dodgers organization truly shines. We are moving away from the splashy headlines and into the laboratory of player development. The prevailing theory is that the Dodgers are done spending. I'm here to tell you that is absolute nonsense. The strategy shifts now from checkbook baseball to Moneyball on steroids. We are looking at the forgotten men of free agency, the distressed assets that other teams are too scared to touch. Why? Because the Dodgers don't see broken toys, they see untapped efficiency. First, look at the rotation. Yes, we have arms, but look closer. We have the phenom Roki Sasaki, but are we really going to bet the farm on his transition to the MLB workload without a safety net? There is a massive debate raging right now about whether Sasaki is a starter or a high-leverage bullpen weapon in year one. To mitigate that risk, the Dodgers are circling names like Lucas Giolito. To the average fan, Giolito is a guy who got shelled recently. To the Dodgers pitching lab, he is clay waiting to be molded. Remember Tyler Anderson? Remember Andrew Heaney? The Dodgers take guys with elite raw stuff who have lost their way, tweak a grip, alter a release point, and suddenly you have a 3.50 ERA starter for pennies on the dollar. Giolito fits this mold perfectly. He doesn't need to be an ace. He needs to be an innings eater who saves the bullpen in June and July. Then there is the Jordan Montgomery situation. This is the one that should have every fan salivating. A World Series champion in 2023, completely lost in the wilderness of injury in 2025. His market value has cratered. This is the classic low-risk, massive reward scenario the Dodgers feast on. We are dangerously thin on left-handed starting pitching, with Blake Snell being the only proven southpaw in the rotation. Adding Montgomery on a prove-it deal balances the rotation and gives us a veteran who doesn't panic with runners in scoring position. It's not a sexy move, but it's the kind of move that wins Game 4 of an NLDS. On the offensive side, the intrigue deepens. The rumors surrounding Teoscar Hernández are heartbreaking but logical. With Tucker in right, Teoscar becomes a luxury we might trade to replenish the farm or bolster the bullpen. If that happens, who steps up? Enter Harrison Bader. You want to talk about defense? Bader is a vacuum cleaner in center field. In a postseason where a single bloop single can end a season, having Bader's glove as a late-game defensive replacement is invaluable. And let's not ignore the wildest card of them all, Luis Arraez. The man wakes up and hits .300 while brushing his teeth. He has no defensive home. Sure, but imagine that bat coming off the bench in the 8th inning against a closer. The rest of the league has forgotten these guys because they have flaws. The Dodgers love them because their flaws make them affordable and their strengths make them dangerous. So, what is the soul of this team heading into the new season? It is a refusal to accept good enough. Most franchises would win back-to-back titles and take a victory lap. The Dodgers are treating the last 2 years like ancient history. There is a ruthless efficiency at 1,000, Vin Scully Avenue that borders on obsession. This isn't just about defending a title, it is about establishing a legacy that rivals the greatest teams in the history of organized sports. The Kyle Tucker signing was the thunder, but the moves we are about to see, the minor league deals with invites to camp, the one-year flyers on veterans, that is the lightning that strikes when you least expect it. You have to admire the audacity of it. We are operating in a world where we are simultaneously the evil empire with the deepest pockets and the smartest guys in the room finding value in the scrap heap. It drives our rivals insane. They can handle losing to money. They can't handle losing to intelligence. And that is exactly what these potential signings represent. If we land a Giolito or Montgomery and they return to All-Star form, it's a checkmate to the National League West. It tells the Padres and the Giants that even our projects are better than their aces. It tells the league that we leave no stone unturned. As we stare down the barrel of spring training, do not let your guard down. Do not assume the roster you see today is the roster that takes the field on opening day. Andrew Freeman is likely sitting in his office right now, looking at a spreadsheet that would make a NASA engineer dizzy, finding that one marginal gain that leads to ring number 3. The pursuit of greatness is a lonely, exhausting road, but the view from the top is worth every step. The Dodgers are leading the way, and everyone else is just trying to keep up. This brings us to the ultimate question. For you, the heartbeat of this franchise. We've talked about the big fish and the reclamation projects, but I want to know where your gut feeling lies. Which of these forgotten free agents is the missing piece of the puzzle? Do you trust the pitching lab to fix Lucas Giolito? Or would you rather see the team bring in a defensive wizard like Harrison Bader to lock down the outfield? Or is there a dark horse, a name nobody is mentioning, that you think fits this culture perfectly? Drop your GM hat in the comments below. I read every single theory you guys cook up. Smash that like button if you are ready to see this team terrorize the league for 3rd straight year. And make sure you are subscribed because this offseason is far from over and you do not want to miss what happens next. Let's go.